Hello, YouTube viewers. Welcome to the Winning Agenda's coverage of the International Twilight Struggle League. My name is Jesse Marshall, and we've got an interesting hand here. So we've got probably going to headline Middle East scoring, which means that we probably want to set up 4-4-2. Obviously, our opponent could headline NASA, but I think Middle East scoring is our best plan here. Lock in those VPs. Which is always nice to do as the US player. If I headline NASA, that's fine. We've got blockading Suez Crisis as our likely play here. We could have also red scared. Turn 1 can be quite brutal for the Soviets, but we might look to do that turn 2 instead. We'll see. All right. Headline Socialist Governments is certainly strong. And gives us some things to worry about on the flip side. So we might use the US-Japan to fix up some of the damage from this, or we might use, hey Michael, thanks for coming down. We'll see how our opponent rolls first. 2, okay. So I think we will use US-Japan just to keep open the potential option of the red scale later. We know we got Suez Crisis. They could have de Gaulle, but I think I'm still okay to put one into France as our thank you, Matt Office UK. I think I'm still okay to put one into France as our way of getting back to Italy, although I may decide to also put one back into Austria. But we'll definitely put one into Afghanistan and one into Malaysia, I think. Question is that, do we go France or Austria? I think it's okay, like if they event de Gaulle, we don't really lose all that much, like we can still take France. And they don't get any closer to Italy because they've already got adjacency. So I think this is okay. And we're threatening Elsa on the board. But yeah, I do not like losing Italy. But our opponent, obviously, it's flavorful. You know, our opponent's Italian, so I guess they probably were most likely to try and take Italy off us, right? First action round. Although that being said, I never try to take Australia. For obvious reasons. Obvious, like, game-related reasons. Why would you? Yes. But that, I mean, obviously could have been worse. You know, they could have got Italy with the coup, which would have meant that they didn't need to worry about placing influence there this action round. They did have de Gaulle, but they're using it to take Italy, so fair enough. So that means we're a little bit clearer in terms of having a run at France, and Italian going for Italy AR1, yeah. It's certainly very flavorful. And I think we'll also move into Pakistan and India because we've got the war. I just want to close off Afghanistan for now because it's the closest that we can get. There's a strat where you can place into Australia's USSR to prevent presence. Yep. I have certainly heard of that, although I've never seen anyone do it. I think because it's not in Southeast Asia, so you can't just get away with the cheeky placement with decol. It's got to be kind of a two-step process to get in there unless you Cambridge 5. So, yeah, I think Afghanistan is the way to go there. And taking France. I mean, we have quite a few ops, but we don't have infinite ops, so we do have to kind of think about what we're doing with them. Thinking about DEFCON, just not worth at this point spending an AR coups Iraq or North Korea just to bring DEFCON down so we can move into Thailand. I think we'd rather just keep foxing around in the non-battlegrounds for now. Have I ever heard of Bundaberg Ginger Ale? It's an Australian brand my supermarket just picked up. Indeed, I have. Ginger beer, I think, is... It could be, you could have ginger ale, but ginger beer is probably the more famous product that they have. And certainly, in fact, I had some last night. It's made in Queensland, which is a state of Australia. So DEFCON at 2, we're probably just going to use the war like for mill-ups and potential VPs here. So we're playing to Iran. And then question is, I think we're going to Thailand. And then I think we'll try and overprotect Thailand later in the turn. And then have to blockade ourselves. So I'm just thinking how best... I don't think we can move to dominate Asia this turn and take Iran back. And I do think we want to take Iran back. I mean, maybe it's better to just take Pakistan then than going back into Iran, but having that foothold in the Middle East is kind of useful. Obviously, we can't spread everywhere in one turn. But I feel like we've done okay in terms of our board presence here, aside from losing Italy. We've certainly had a good start. They've also had a pretty good start. And now we get CIA, which is fine. Okay, Korean War, EEU, and defectors. Cool.
Is the challenge of human relations and not of the impersonal, natural.
So I think either we use this to go into Angola or into Pakistan, Algeria, or Colombia is pretty bad. I mean, they're only a 50-50 to kick us out, but still, I don't like giving them the in this region reasonably easily. At this point, when I say they only 50-50 kick us out, that's obviously not true. There is a chance that they don't kick us out if they then coup Colombia and roll poorly. Certainly not 50-50, and we can obviously coup back, but I don't love starting that there for no reason. I think I'd rather just keep pressing in Asia. So let's do it this way. So we can blockade next action round to fill up Pakistan if we want. I mean, I think we can presume they don't have... Oh, of course we can. We've seen their hand. I was going to say, I think we can presume they don't have decol at this point. Yes, they have defectors, EEU, and Korean War is exactly what they have, and nothing more. Lebanon, interesting move. I mean, I guess maybe looking to try and deny us presence in the Middle East and improve Arab-Israeli war if they draw it next turn. There's a chance they get you out and a chance they fail. Therefore, 50-50. Yeah, it's quite early in the morning here. Not early, but I had a lot on yesterday, and I think that's what my brain was trying to say. It's not a certainty that we get kicked out, is what I meant to say. So let's discard this Suez Crisis. I think we can hold off going into India at this point. There's also, I realised, slightly awkward now that we... Oh no, we do have 2 action rounds left. I was going to say, how have we only... Because anyway, like I said, brain not 100% working at this point in the morning, but yes, we do have 2 action rounds left, which means I think we will play this for the event. Fail, but at least we get the mill-ups. It's kind of a luxury anytime you can, like, as the US play a war for mill-ups in the early war, but I think that was okay. Like, there were obviously a lot of other places we could have gone that might have been worth more VPs, like going into Angola and Algeria, for example, or playing into Jordan or Egypt. But I thought that the shot at the mill-ups and the VPs was worth it. So do we give them this? I mean... Giving them this allows us to do this, or we can just space it. Because they've got defectors, which means if they draw decol next turn, they're getting it. I think we're in a bit of trouble if they get decol anyway. But I would rather end the turn, I think, with Thailand overprotected. think I would rather do that. All right. So no Marshall Plan, unfortunately. We do have NORAD. NORAD and test ban, meaning that there's a chance that we can flip it. And I think I prefer, now that they've got Italy and might be trying to take South Korea off us, I think I do quite like headlining NORAD here. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Turn 2 is reasonably early in the game. Still going to get next turn's use out of NORAD. And yeah, potentially quite a few turns beyond that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that Vietnam Revolt's play. Whether it was, I mean, it was the first space race box that we're fighting for as well, so maybe that's worth something worth thinking about. And considering the play, the action round before as well with the Indo-Pakistani War, was it better to take the 50-50 on the space roll rather than the 50 on the war roll? I don't know. That'd be an interesting mathematical exercise to think about which one is better, because the war roll gets us, so they did get the decal. Okay, well, I'm kind of glad that I played Vietnam Revolts now. I think that kind of puts that discussion to bed. It's quite funny when you like do something for a particular reason. If your opponent has a particular card, and they get it. Kind of feels a little bit gratifying, although it's never gratifying as a US player when your opponent draws decolonization. So, and of course they can still flip Thailand by giving us the China card, but at least they can't just place and flip. Yeah, so interesting times if they have IP War is an EV of 3 VPs. Basically, Vietnam is EV of 1, but gets you space tempo, which can be worth many more VPs. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Michael. That's the toss up. All right. So UN intervention, Marshall Plan. Yeah, this is what I was not. I was hoping they wouldn't do. I was hoping they wouldn't go straight into India. You know, the plus side here, I guess, is we get to coup, but the downside is that we lose quite a bit in terms of Asia and our ability to dominate Asia. Look, I mean, I think they have reasonably bad coups as well. So there is an argument for just going like that, knowing that Korean War is still out there. But that we can probably take Japan or Taiwan later this turn. Okay, take Taiwan, to be honest. Like, I don't actually mind that play, and then eventing Formosan if they're going to hold on to the China card. So this is not US play that I've done a whole lot before. I mean, obviously we need to be careful of Thailand and Pakistan as well. It's like part of me actually wants to go like that, but then that does kind of suck in a way, because whilst we're now ahead in South Korea, they can just come back with a 4-up and take it. So test ban's out of the way, US Japan's out of the way, Red Scare's out of the way, Marshall Plan's out of the way. Okay, and did they play NATO as well? I think they played NATO on turn 1 too. Yeah. Okay, so they don't have a 4-up other than the China card, which makes this slightly better. We don't really have the ops to fight them all the way though in an ops war for South Korea, and which is like getting to ops wars for South Korea is just bad news anyway. But I do think I don't want them flipping our battlegrounds with the China card, so I think I prefer that, because if they flipped another one of our battlegrounds with the China card, it actually puts us in pretty bad shape in Asia. And doing it this way forces them to commit more resources to doing that. Plus, they presumably also want a coup. I don't know, okay. They just wanted to dump Asia scoring. That's fine. So I think that's actually good, because like Asia scoring can obviously come back next turn. I think we'll take South Korea. We'll go into Canada next action round, I think. so that if they coup, we get a free influence. Although I presume they're just going to coup around here. It's not certain. They also don't have domination in Europe as yet, so there's part of me that wants to try and play into Spain, Portugal this turn. But I think, like, obviously that also improves our brush war chances later on as well, when we inevitably want to try and brush war Italy. But what are our other priorities for this turn? Probably spacing Fidel to try and get there first. Okay, so they've chosen to coup, only a 2-up. Rolled not so well. So we want to place influence this action round then. We don't want to play Warsaw Pact, I think, until later in the turn just to see if they do have Europe scoring, because we don't want to give them the free non-battleground influence. So I think it's one in Iran and one in Angola. That's the way to go. And this is the downside for them of choosing to go into South Africa. We can box them in if we find the tempo to do it, and we, thankfully for us, did find that tempo. But now we're kind of running out of ops to be able to Warsaw Pact, to be able to take Japan and take Canada. We still do have enough ops, but not heaps. Okay, so they're starting to commit ops to Eastern Europe now. To Europe now, to non-battlegrounds, which makes me a little more inclined to start doing this. Let's go with that. And then I think we'll go Zaire next action round. Depending. We may play Warsaw, but we'll see how we go. Interesting they went to Greece as well, rather than Spain, Portugal. Okay. Slightly frustrating. Obviously makes spacing Fidel here quite a bit worse. I think we probably want to hold NASA over and see how it goes in terms of whether we draw Middle East scoring next turn, and also whether we get the coup. We don't want to give them Fidel. We really also don't want to give them this right now. So I think maybe we still do just space Fidel and see what happens. See what they've got last action round. Just get the one VP back. Okay. Containment turning Warsaw Pact into a 4-up is actually okay. Okay, so they did go into Spain, Portugal, fair enough. And where did they put their last one? Burma. Okay. So I think we'll go like this then. I think we can afford to just say, okay, you can have one Europe scoring, but we'll try and dominate you in Asia. Give ourselves the best chance of holding on to that. Because they put quite a bit of effort into Europe this turn. Could have put one into Italy there, I suppose. That actually probably would have been pretty good. But yeah, maybe I'm getting too worried about this US-Japan Pact business. About the Korean War business. Should have, maybe got one into Italy for the NORAD threat. I think NORAD putting an extra one into South Korea or Thailand is okay here. Even one to Panama. Yeah, I think we've got a few decent NORAD targets, but Italy would have been far better and far more impactful since we know Europe's going to score next turn.
the challenge of human relations and not of impersonal natural forces.
Okay. Asia scoring is a good one. And we can give ourselves a pretty good shot at it. So we got D-style. Do you mean Cameroon, Michael? As the last AR threat? So yes, let's headline defectors. No D-style and Asia looking good. Yeah, I mean, it would have... I'm glad we defectors that Cambridge 5. That would have been not a great one for us. Yeah. So the scoring this turn is going to be somewhat of a wash. Unless things change. Yeah, okay. Cool. So they rolled poorly on that. I think we'll use that just to take the tempo back by placing back here and then scoring Asia. I'm fine with that. We also got IP War, which we could just pop for the 1 and 3 before we score. I don't love that, actually, since they know we've got to score Europe and they could grief us here with our non-overprotected battlegrounds and the fact that Suez and de Gaulle are still out there. So I think I'd rather just take the 7 BPs. We can still IP War later in the turn if we want to for mill-ups, so we probably will. There's not a great chance for us to flip anything in Europe here with this hand. Yeah. So we'll space D-style. Okay, Middle East scoring, that's another point for us. We'll just get Europe out of the way. Coming out of the early war as the US in this position is pretty decent. Not going to complain about that. I think we'll probably take Mexico. And fill up Panama. Middle East being scored is like good for us. Okay. I don't quite know why they would do that. I think we want to overprotect France this turn. So, I mean, we can give them Comic-Con now because they just spent an action round placing stuff in European non-battlegrounds. We want to overprotect that. Blockade's gone. Don't need to overprotect anywhere else, really. I mean, I think we'll just go into Egypt. Even though we're going to NASA this turn, we just want to get to Libya. Even though we're going to play NASA this turn and Middle East scoring's out of the way, I still think it's worth getting to Libya. And overprotecting ourselves in Europe while we have like the tempo and the space to do it. Because it means we can go like 2 in Libya with Marshall Plan, 1 in Panama, 1 in Mexico if we want, and then use the NASA influence to finish Mexico. We could go into Cameroon. Either way, I think we want to probably space D-style next action round. Yeah, although hang on. So what are we going to hold then? So we need to hold, we want to play this, we want to space this turn. So we want to hold either one of those. I mean, this would be fine to hold Marshall Plan over, I guess. But then that doesn't let us take Libya. Maybe we have to hold NASA. That's why they filled up there. Non-battlegrounds. Fair enough. Should have probably realised that. But still, I think that was pretty ops inefficient in a lot of ways. But it does mean we're going to have a hard time dominating Europe, that's for sure. Cool. Well, let's space race this. Hey, yay for the successful spaces. So yeah, I think we will hold NASA. Like, holding NASA is not obviously not great. Holding over 1-ops and opposition 1-ops at that, but whatevs. This allows us, I think it's more important for us to take the mill-ops this turn, and to create a few threats with this. Let's just do the mill-ops first. No das. Yeah, I think it was definitely correct to score Asia when we did, rather than relying on that to try and, you know, bump us up by one battleground when that would have opened up so many plays for our opponent to cause us issues. Okay. Yeah. It probably is 1, 2. Or do we still have the option here of putting one into Italy for no rad purposes again. I think maybe I do actually still prefer that. I was like dropping the scoring card, you're dominating first. Lots of ways Asia can go south. Yeah. True that. Yeah, I think I like getting the one in there just for the no rad grief. If we get Quagmire, we get Quagmire. Cool. So we've got OAS. They don't have one small step, importantly, which is helpful. Got all things that are reasonably playable. We'd prefer not to play Portuguese Empire Crumbles. We'd prefer not to play Korean War. But we can play Willy Brandt. And we've got good events, some good ops to back up our OAS to be able to spread. But nothing we particularly want to headline here, so I think we just headline NASA. Because I don't really want to headline OAS into their coup. The one in Italy is really, really good. Yes, it is. Okay, so they had De Gaulle. It's a little annoying here. Yeah, I'm a little worried about Europe, I'm not going to lie. I'm glad we overprotected it, but we probably should have double overprotected it. I don't know. Okay, going in with the China card. So I think since we know Europe's already scored, we just ignore that a little bit and we just coup Algeria and just try and beat them on VPs outside of Europe at this point. Europe, Asia, the Middle East are all scored. They've got no presence really if we kick them out of Algeria in any of the mid-war regions, and we can kind of keep them out a bit. So I think we coup with U2 incident. So that we keep the max, like keep more ops for spreading from our OAS founded with NATO. So yeah, let's just coup here. Nice roll. And then we'll put one into Italy. So we can space Korean War and Portuguese Empire Crumbles at this point. Camp David Accord's also pretty good. We don't want to give them easy ways to get Milops back this turn, so I think when we go OAS, we'll probably go like 1 Chile, 1 Venezuela. You know, if they have ABM or Junta or Brush War, that's bad for us, but can't not go into many places for fear of that. So obviously here we have to be very careful of West Germany, which might mean playing into Benelux, just to be careful of realignment plays. Okay, so they want South Africa. Well, let's do this and start spreading here. I think we'll event Camp David Accords this turn. I think we're okay to event. And it's not going to be in effect anyway until potentially very late in the game. The one influence in West Germany we can offset. Okay, so they did have Junta. Not the greatest news. I mean, we could just try and like straight up realign them, but I think that's not the greatest use of our ops. Maybe it is. Like, maybe it's worth a 2-op card just to like try and Mise realign them out. We'll see. I think I want to spread first before I try any of that. So I think let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got 2 spaces and an advance, so we haven't really got many ops left to play this turn. 2 spaces an event, and then 2 ops from 1 small step, which we might play into Mexico, because I think this is one of those games, aside from Brush War, which in any event is a 4+ in Mexico, it's one where they're less likely to coup us there because of no red at this point. Hopefully we draw Quagmire and we get to carry no red the whole way. But certainly that disincentive to queuing, or that penalty for queuing, has been useful for us so far. Okay. Annoying that that happened now. But let's start off with spacing this. Nope. So there's an argument for not spacing Portuguese Empire Crumbles and instead just placing 2 into Angola, but I think I'm happy to space it. There's not really a big issue with us getting ahead on the space race track, and in fact it's something that I value at the moment over that, and that gives them adjacency to Zaire as well, so it's not actually exactly the same. So let's just get rid of this. Woohoo, I'm glad. Some games I just get stuck on this second space race spot and tear my hair out, so that is good. It's a good place to be because it also gives us the chance to get to Man in Earth orbit reasonably quickly, and gives us the chance to push for some of those higher VP rolls later. So I think we want to go Camp David Accord's next action round and then use 1 small step to place into both. Okay. I was going to say place into both Cameroon and Saharan states, but this kind of complicates things a little bit. I think instead what we'll do is we'll place into Zaire to overprotect it. Angola's still a bit of a problem for them in that they... NORAD is causing them issues, although obviously they've got lots of places for us where NORAD influence is good all over the board. We're definitely not going to give them the opportunity to coup us in a non-battleground, but I do want to overprotect Zaire here. Colonial Rearguards is a possibility. I'm just thinking about whether I want to place one into Mexico or whether there's somewhere better to place this other influence. I don't think it's Asia. I don't think it's the Middle East. Having one sitting in Mexico, since we know we're not going to place another one there for the rest of the turn, is not ideal. I don't want to place into Botswana. Don't really want to double overprotect Zaire either. Don't really want to place one into Jordan. Look, is it likely that they're going to try and flip Zaire? Or do we just want to do this first? I think let's just do that first. If they've got the scoring card, they're kind of try and flip it. If they don't have the scoring card, sorry, if they've got the scoring card, they're not going to be able to try and flip it because they're going to have to play it. If they don't have the scoring card, they have to have a 3-op that they want to play, and they have to value flipping Zaire that highly. Yeah, so I think this is probably still better, and it means that we can, instead of playing into Zaire and like double overprotecting it, for example, we can do something a little better, like playing into Cameroon and Saharan states now. Yeah, so I think this is a better outcome overall for us. The other option is that we like break France here or something. But I just would rather press for more VPs rather than be breaking them. The other option is to put 2 into Uruguay to be dominating South America at the change of turns. No, I prefer this. All right. So we get to grain sales them. The question is, like, do we coup if we grain sales them? It's quite funny. But there's a source of like quite a few victory points here. So if we play this well, we can win the game this turn. Yeah, this is a pretty good hand. It's very, very interesting. So we can actually control Central America if we can keep DEFCON low and if they don't have ABM treaty. So I think headlining grain sales and cooing Angola is just the way to go. So let's go with that. Good to know, Michael. You smell victory this turn. Let's see what they've got. Shay. Okay, that's a little bit of a spanner in the works to the Africa plan. That's for sure. Certainly a good counter to the play that we're trying to pull off there. Well. Okay. I think, yes, let's play 5-year plan coup Angola. Because our other options include... So what do we get for Central America control? We win the game. Okay. We just don't want them cooing us, I think, here. In Zaire. So yeah, I think let's coup... Let's cut their hand size, coup Angola with 5-year plan, and then we have enough other ops and influence to go into Cuba and Mexico and deal with that, and we can probably score this at +2 or +1. I think that's the best outcome. So let's coup here. We can even play into Botswana if we want to, but I just don't think we need to get that cute. I think we can just play Cuba, Mexico. Although, when was Fidel? We got rid of Fidel on turn 2, so they could have Fidel. We need to be careful of that. They could obviously have ABM or... what am I thinking of? Liberation Theology as well. Junta's out of the way, so it's really just those. I liked Argentina, since he could have South America. Argentina as a coup? The thing is, like, we know that that's going to be 2 VPs to us this turn, to coup Angola, at least. Yeah. Shay was a little annoying there. So hopefully they don't have all of the things we don't want them to have, i.e. Liberation Theology and or Fidel as well, and or ABM. If it's just Shay, then we should be okay to get there this turn. We'll hold on to this for next turn. So what's our sequencing going to be? I think we go 2 into Mexico. So we play Africa scoring next action round, probably, depending on what they do. If they play a 4-up and they flip Zaire and flip Angola, and take Nigeria, that's pretty annoying. But short of that, I think we can just get rid of the Africa scoring. Yep, okay. This looks like they could have smelt the plan. No, okay. They're ignoring Africa, which is good. Cool. So we'll just pop that for the 1. They could have South America, that's very true, but we know we have Central America. So let's play into that as best we can. I mean, maybe that was wrong. Like, maybe I should have gone 2 into Botswana, 1 into Zaire there. Knowing that we had the advantage in terms of battlegrounds. Yeah, that probably was the better play. Okay. Spacing rear guards. So let's place here. 1, 2, 3. If they play Fidel, I'd be a little bit peeved. But I think I can go like Haiti, Nicaragua, and 2 in Cuba, or something like that, or even just 1 in Haiti, 2 in Cuba. Although that does give them the opportunity to coup into Haiti for presence. Very unlikely to get Domination Africa IMO. Yeah, better to focus on CA since it's harder to counter. Yeah, good. I'm glad you agree with the strat, Michael. Let's just give it a go. See where we end up. So could have used an extra op, but it would have required us playing the China card to be in Haiti as well this action round in case they have Fidel. But let's see. Okay. And they had 1 of them. And that's kind of frustrating. So I think we break them in France now. We play PCR. And then say go. So another fortunate roll for us. We have had a few go our way in terms of their coups in this game. Hopefully this can get us there. So now I think they're down to Liberation Theology and Fidel. Puppet governments. Okay. So I think we go 1, 2, 3. I mean, those ones in Central America don't really make much of a difference. So maybe just in case something goes wrong, we'd rather be in Uruguay, would we? I think we'd rather be here. It just gives us the best chance of pressing home the control this turn no matter what. Because we do have a spare action round for realignments if need be. And we've got the Latin American death squads to do it. cooing for presence. Fair enough. So now we can just place with this. We don't need to play the China card yet. And we'll go into Nicaragua. And that puts us on 7. Great. So, I mean, they could realign Panama. That would be a bit annoying. They could realign Mexico at -1 as well. Let's get rid of that. And that. So presumably this is going to be realignments in CA. And then we've got 1 action round to play back in to any battlegrounds that they realign us out of. Plus we have a couple of spare ops, hopefully. Now they go influence. Okay, cool. So then we can just go 1, 2, 3. You like dropping neutral cards with Omit? Yeah, that's fair. 4 just for the realignment protection on Panama. Now they have to roll very well on a realignment in Mexico. Is kind of the only out here, I think. Yeah, that's an interesting point, Michael, actually. Dropping neutral cards with Amman and Tehran. Because the USSR kind of needs neutral cards to make it through the mid-war unscathed. And if you look at what they've drawn so far, I mean, I know they've had ABM and Junta, but they've also had a lot of blue cards that have been hard to manage, so I can kind of understand that line of thinking. So they're going influence. Okay, cool. We got there. So thanks for watching, everyone. Good to get a win on the board in ITSL. It has not been a great run, but we managed to keep the foot on the throat despite losing Italy on the first action round to our Italian opponent. We kept things pretty strong in Asia and pressed our advantages elsewhere on the board. And I think by depriving our opponent of tempo in the early war, stopped them from being able to queue us out of Panama, which turned out to be super important. Yeah, so good game. Well played, good revenge for the theft in the World Cup of Soccer. So that was an Italy-Australia match in the 2006 Soccer World Cup. That's a great goal. Good luck for the rest. Good to see an opponent with a great sense of humour. Thanks, Marco, for the game, and thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Comeback time in the standings, says Michael. Yeah, hopefully so. We're kind of running out of tarmac. Not quite enough games left for a big comeback, but at least if we can get things back to somewhat even, that'd be nice. So thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you soon.